Ladies and gentlemen, on today's episode of the Ango Show, we're going to be talking about some major changes to Raw and some bad news for Raw on Netflix. Plus, AEW's controversial Max Caster. Did he cross the line? AEW apparently thinks so. And we're going to talk about so much more. It's all coming up right here on TAS. Okay, guys, I want to kick things off with today's video. WWE Raw has a new logo. It debuted during the Jake Paul fight against Mike Tyson. Obviously, a big deal for WWE Raw. We saw that SmackDown was rebranded. We saw NXT was rebranded. We knew the Raw rebrand was coming as well for when they debut on Netflix. A lot of people are talking about this logo. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. And I want to talk about this. I want to weigh in on this because for over a year, I talked about long before the TV deal stuff. Hey guys, expect new branding. And I think what often happens, especially when you're talking about it that far in advance, a lot of people get excited. A lot of people get excited about the prospect of a new logo and new branding. And then, of course, you finally see what the brand logo looks like. And then everybody seems to either like it or hate it. I don't hate it. I know that's not a popular opinion. I understand that a lot of people may not agree with me, and that's completely fine. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I know a lot of people think it is pretty basic or whatever, but WWE branding the shows, there's like a significant look to SmackDown and Raw, obviously with the blue and the red and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people were just expecting something completely different, which is completely fine. I'm not one of those guys that really care. I think graphics and visual presentation matters. I think logos do matter 1,000,000%. I'm not one of those guys to deny that, but I really don't see the issue too much with what this logo looks like. To me, it reminds me of everything else they've ever done with Raw, which is like the long lines and stuff like that. And, you know, Raw with the underline going under with the AEW or whatever. And listen, like I said, some people like it, some people don't. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And I'm not going to pretend like it is. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It is fine. Like it just works out, I guess. I think graphics wise, WWE, AEW, TNA, MLW, I think all of these companies could actually do a lot better. But of course, they just kind of have like their own style, and it's fine. It is what it is. Maybe I would prefer changes to all of the graphics throughout all of these companies, but the reality is, I don't think it really matters as much. I think it's it's a signature look for WWE Raw. It's altered just slightly. And if you're one of those people who are saying that you're not going to watch Raw on Netflix because of the way it looks, I think that's just absolutely funny. But hey, it is what it is. Let's switch gears for a second. Max Caster. We knew that he was competing on AEW Collision. And well, you guys know Max Caster. He's been acting really weird on social media. He's been acting really weird in the past year or so. And it's like really weird because he's kind of like a baby face, right? Like the Acclaimed are baby faces, and then just his behavior and stuff like that is just like really, really strange. Now he did a freestyle rap, and it's not the first time that Max Caster has been controversial with his freestyle raps going into the ring, but he did one. He talked about Kamala Harris's election loss, Mexicans being managed by Jake the Snake, and wrestling in a sanctuary city. And well, he rapped about it. A lot of people were offended by it. AEW edited it out, so nobody got to see that. Obviously, AEW was not comfortable with it. Therefore, they, obviously did the edit. Listen, he's done anti-everything, right? Like we've heard Max Caster rap about Trump. We've heard him rap about Vince McMahon. We've heard him rap about so many different things. I think a lot of people are just kind of annoyed with Max Caster, and really that's kind of what I really want to talk about is just like the gimmick itself. It's at this point it's boring. I don't think there's anything really cool with the gimmick. I think the freestyle raps are kind of ass, to be honest. And when you see the social media behavior and you see this kind of stuff, you just have to wonder exactly what is happening with the Acclaimed in AEW. And I really feel bad for Anthony Bowens because that guy is like, to me, I look at that guy as like a future world champion as a singles guy. And I know not everybody agrees with me, but I think he's a really talented dude. And I feel like at this point, the Acclaimed should not even be together. and it's not a popular opinion. I understand that the IWC doesn't agree and not everybody likes it. But the truth is, Max Caster and his behavior and stuff like that, the way I look at it, you know, you could be offended by it, not offended by it. I don't think he was like being malicious with what he's doing. I think Max Caster is, he's constantly rapping about, you know, the current events or whatever's trending. He makes his comments, and both sides on the political spectrum have gotten their blows, I guess. To me, it's not about the lyrics, right? Like, do I think it was dumb? Yeah, but also at the same time too, I just think in general, I think the gimmick is dumb. I think Max Caster's gimmick at this point is just like not really entertaining. I don't think the Acclaimed have any fire underneath them right now. I don't think there's any momentum for them despite winning on Collision. And you know, the real thing that I wanted to point out here, and maybe I took a little too long to get to this point, but it's a big one. We have to acknowledge the fact that this is not the first time that he said something controversial in his raps. It's not the first time that AEW has dealt with this before. So I just have to wonder, like, what's their whole creative process like? You know, you're going to let Max Caster do these raps at some point. Don't you think you should know what he's going to be rapping about before he makes his entrance? I don't know. Maybe they do. And then if they do, you know, who signed off on it? I don't know. It's just a really strange situation. I understand the controversy, but what I would like to argue is that this isn't anything new for Max Caster. I'm not a big fan of this anymore. I think the gimmick is played out. I don't think it works, and it's not really doing anything for them. So yeah, let's just move back forward with another topic. Yeah, let's talk about it, guys. Raw on Netflix. We saw the new Raw logo. Well, WWE Raw on Netflix. A lot of interesting things being talked about here, largely due to the fact that over 60 million people watched Jake Paul fight Mike Tyson. WWE has an internal reaction to the Netflix issues. Fightful spoke with WWE officials about the concern because Netflix was buffering and having issues. And WWE officials stated that they've been assured that these issues would be kept at a minimum. A higher up stated that if they were ever going to do the type of traffic Tyson and Paul were doing, that would be a good problem to have, which I actually do agree with. The fight wasn't the only issue, obviously, for Netflix either. Like, that's one thing that we need to mention. They did a live show on Netflix. They did a live show for Love is Blind, and I remember that was like built up as a big deal, and they had streaming issues, and Netflix is not primarily a live platform. So yeah, this is not good news for WWE. Like, the whole buffering and streaming issue, you don't expect that with Amazon Prime. You don't expect that with Peacock. You don't expect that with some of these other providers because they largely do more output when it comes to live content. Netflix doesn't. It's going to be a big turnoff for WWE Raw if we're watching the show, and next thing you know, you have to watch it on demand later because they can't properly get it live. It's not good news for them. You know what I mean? And I think that's a big thing. Obviously, WWE sources are not going to remain pessimistic with something like that, but the fact that there's optimism there is kind of interesting. Like, I don't know if it's genuine optimism. I think it should be concerning that Netflix is not a live streaming platform, and the times that they try doing live content, there's issues. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, Netflix had 60 million people watching. What kind of numbers will WWE Raw have? I don't know, but that's going to be something very crazy to look into. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching the Ango Show.